Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel with Aging Advantage, and Aging Advantage is a nonprofit that helps disabled adults and seniors in the St. Louis area. And today we have Bill who's going to speak with us about 988. It's a suicide prevention line and all that it does for our community. Through a grant with ARPA, we offer these programs to help with the effects of COVID, like our family visitor program, which helps with long-term effects of isolation. Through partnership, we provide educational topics that can help promote self-care and resilience. With that being said, here is Bill.
Working on the King's Army, and one of the facets that he was working on was the horses and their development regarding their shoes. He had to make sure that nails and the shoes were properly placed. And when he was about to do that, he noticed in calculating the nails compared to the shoes that he had of the horses, that there would be a shortage of one nail to a shoe. And so he became frantic. He ran to his king and he asked the king, what should he do? Because there is not enough nails to go around to shoe the horses. And so the king sunk down on his throne, and he threw his hands up and he said, then the war is over. And so the blacksmith asked the king, well, why, sire? For one nail? And the king said, because of the nail, the horse is lost. Because of the horse, the soldier is lost. Because of the soldier, then the war is lost. Only for one little nail. Well, what we're going to talk about today is three nails, but actually three numbers. And those three numbers impact greatness for us people's lives. It impacts people's mental health and their comfort, possibility of being able to be helped. My name is Bill Mays. I'm with Safer Homes Collaborative. And Safer Homes Collaborative, what we do, we sponsor a free class, a free 1-hour class that is tailored for first responders, veterans, other organizations that collaborate with us to prevent suicide by promoting lethal means safety strategies, including secure storage of firearms, ammunition, and medications, or temporarily voluntary removal of these items from the home. But in connection with that, we want to talk about 988. Again, those three nails, those three numbers that helps us today. So what do you know about 988? Who do you think 988 was created for? What do you think when someone talks about 988? When you see it on the commercials, on the base bulletin boards that they have in our public places? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about 988. Well, 988 you can call that number in different languages. It's not 911. 911 is separate from 988. Most of us probably have called 911 before, but it has nothing to do with 988. And so that brings us to the cause of how does 988 work? Is there other languages that can be called with 988? Can we call 988 in St. Louis? What is the goal of 988? And are there resources that can be used? So let's dive in and see how we can, when we call 911, or sorry, what happens when I contact 911 with a mental health crisis. Well, and that's interesting because, again, I had the privilege of working the 800 number for Suicide Crisis and Lifeline. And I remember someone calling in, and the first thing we would do, we would talk to them. But I remember them saying, well, if you're going to call the police, if you're going to connect me to 911, then I'm going to hang up. So you see, they had this fear that if they call the crisis line, then perhaps that crisis line was going to connect them to 911, and certain things could happen if that's the case. For instance, when calling 911, you can reach the EMS. Of course, you can reach the police. Now, when reaching the police department, and the police do come out to one's home who dialed 911, and maybe they have mental challenges going on, there's a couple of things that can happen. One of the things is it could possibly, the police could take them to jail because they're not really there for mental health. They're there for emergencies regarding 911. Or possibly what they could do is they can take them and they're going to bring them right back, return them to the community, and that individual has not gotten the help that he's needed. And so comes 988. Here comes 988 to help in that regard. And it does. It really helps. And here's how it helps. So let's focus on how 988 works. When a person calls 988, they will be asked if they need a dedicated service. Now, that dedicated service could be whether if they are a veteran or a Spanish. And so it would let them know what prompt to click or to push so that they can get to their respective service if they call. If they text 988, your contact is routed to an official Lifeline crisis center based on your area code. What about chatting? What if you chat 988? Then your contact is routed to an official Lifeline crisis center based on your IP address. So you have three options, right? You have, if you call, text, or chat. Whichever three avenues you decide that you're going to take, there will be a trained behavioral health crisis counselor that would talk with you. The counselor will listen to you, understand how your problem is affecting you. They will provide personal support so that you can get the help that you need. And isn't that important? When one call 988 and they're going through some mental challenges, they need help. They need to be listened to. And so that's why it's so important for 988 to be known, for ones to know about it, because it does save lives. Now, when calling 988, there will be follow-up services that will be offered. That is important, isn't it? Because we just don't want to speak with someone when someone on the 988 line, they're talking to them and they hang up and that person has gotten no comfort. We want to make sure that we have references for that individual. We want to make sure that that person is helped. We want to make sure that that person understands that we care. And that's what the 988, that's how it works. For instance, when calling 988, if you're a veteran, you will press 1. If you are Spanish or other language, you will press 2. If you are LGBTQ in the community, then you would press 3. And the thing about 988 is a confidential hotline. I know this for a fact because I talked to hundreds of individuals when I was working the crisis line. And what was discussed was confidential. Yes, you can talk to your family, you can talk to your parents, and that's okay. But sometimes individuals want to talk with someone that they're not judged, they're not talked down to, and you're talking to someone that understands. Yes, it is. It's a safe space to talk. And that individual on that line, that 988 crisis line representative, would not just leave you at bay. They would go over coping skills to help you. They would devise a safety plan for you to abide by, for you to use, that would help you. When I spoke with ones on the crisis line, I would talk with them, even do some breathing exercises right over the phone, right then and there. And how much so it helped them. Many times, just right over the phone, helping them to calm down, take a breather, breathe in, breathe out. And when they got off the phone, they felt much better. And that's our purpose. That's 988 purpose, is to help you feel better, to give you comfort when you're going through crisis. Other languages, well, it doesn't stop there with English. 988 help people who speak other languages as well. Remember, speaking of the language, you press 2. You will be provided with a translator in more than 240 additional languages through the language line. When calling 988, you or one of your friends or family can ask for an interpreter in English if you are able, or you can say the name of the language you need. And when you do that, you would then be connected with an interpreter, which would typically takes about 20 seconds. It helps. It gives comfort. 988, those 3 nails, right? So small in numbers, but what an impact it has been since 2022. There have been many calls, and 988 is at the center of helping those get through what they're going through. So our goal is to build a foundation to improve access to mental health care, in which 988 is doing and will continue to do. When one calls 988, he doesn't have to fret that he will go to jail or he will go into a mental health facility. No, he will be routed, he will be helped. He will be routed to services that can give him help at that time. And down the road, because it doesn't stop there. Just that connection, just that 988 gives ones who have mental health challenges comfort. Sometimes ones call and they're thinking of killing themselves. They're thinking of suicide. Those trained representatives are able to help and understand what that individual is going through. I know that because I've talked to many ones who were thinking of suicide. But by talking with them, by helping them, by giving them comfort, by understanding them, by validating what they're saying, many individuals, when they get off the line, have a better scope, devise a plan to do something other than what they were thinking about. Now, I'm not saying that works all the time. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that 988 will provide the comfort that they need. It will provide them the help that they need so that they can be able to continue to function in society, to continue to have healthy mental attitude than unhealthy. And that's the goal. And that's what we want, isn't it? We want individuals to be helped. So yes, there are resources, 988. Hopefully, even if you go online and you type in 988, you'll see resources, different resources that are there. There are literature, like here it mentions that there are 988 toolkits, literature, poster, cards, magnets, social graphics, 988 partner toolkit that gives you information, that gives you education on 988, on suicide prevention, on crisis, that you will be able to download and be able to get help. Even my email address, Safer Homes Collaborative, bill@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to send you information, to get document and printed information to you if you need that help as well. So I want to thank you for listening. And remember, yes, it's just 3 numbers. But remember what the king said. Because of the nail, the shoe was lost. Because of the shoe, the horse was lost. Because of the horse, the soldier was lost. And because of the soldier, the war was lost. And you know what? It was only because of one little nail. So those 3 numbers, 988, will is making a major impact in people's lives. And it will make one in yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much for presenting, Bill. That's such good information that we got from you today and such a wonderful resource.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And also, I guess the question I want to pose, because you gave the information if somebody would like to get in more details and things like that, which is great. And so I kind of want to do a recap to make sure I'm understanding so that if someone comes to me, I'll know how to direct them. So don't do 911 if you have more like the mental type case or situation going on. That could be anything from like suicide, or you just need somebody to talk to, or something of that sort. So 911 then is more so in an emergency situation. If I don't know, can you kind of explain that?
Okay, sure. I work for 911 as well.
Okay, good then.
So 911 is for if an emergency point of if there's a crime being committed. Of course, 911 will connect you to the fire department, EMS. If there's a fire, if there's someone sick, they need physical health care. That's 911. Okay. If you are going through mental challenges and you have mental health issues, don't recommend 911.
Okay.
because again, police, they are not equipped to handle a person who has schizophrenia. That's not their job. That can go real bad. You see, that person can end up getting killed. The police could be attacked. Then we've got a whole new ball game. But when you call 988, that is strictly for ones who are going through mental health challenges or thinking of suicide. We don't want the police going there. Now, what will happen is if that 988 person routes that call, they will route that call to another responder that the police do have options to, but it's not the police department. It's a designated department that would come out and talk to the individual without the police department with them. So 988 will get you where you need to go if you have mental challenges. And that's a fact.
Yep.
Did that help out?
Yes.
Donna? Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That actually brings me to another question. Because you're saying to call, and I know most of our clientele are those with a disability or they are a senior. Okay. So perhaps they are out and about and someone may appear as if they are having some mental challenges going on, some mental issues. Now, if you call 988, can they dispatch someone out to the area for someone? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely can do that. As a matter of fact, we used to do that back in the day. Back in the day on that number, we used to do that. What we would do is if they call, we would route them. We'll call the police department.
Okay.
Or the EMS, and they'll get to that individual.
Okay.
But again, sometimes things can go bad now when the police come. I mean, you understand that.
Okay. So not necessarily a 911 agent, 988 agent will come out. You guys would route them to still maybe 911 or the EMS, somebody to still come out and assist the person, but it may not always be pretty, but at least somebody's there other than just, normal people that's just walking around and, nobody of some type of authoritative position.
Well,
am I making sense?
Yeah, you are. Okay. But here's the answer to that. Let me give you an example. Let's say that there was a person, you were walking down, you saw a person, he had a big butcher knife.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, we're probably not going to call 988, right?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right. That makes sense.
We're dealing with violence now.
Right.
And that person has to be dealt with.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, then we're going to call 911.
Okay.
Okay. But if that person is talking to himself, he's acting irrational, I'm sure you've seen someone who looks like they're having mental challenges, right? Then you could actually call 988 for a friend.
Oh, okay.
If you're talking to a friend that may be close to you and they're saying, man, I am tired of it. This life, wow, I'm here. I don't even want to live anymore. You should do your friend a favor and say, you know what? I understand that. Let me call this designated number because there are ones that on the other end of this phone will be able to assist you. And call 988. And you can, on the speakerphone, you can do the speaker thing, right? You can, they'll be speaking, you'll be there with them because they feel that they're your friend. They're confident that you're there. But also that 988 operator will be able to help.
Okay.
So that's how 988 works. You never know. Your friend, my friend, we never know. They may
Right.
come to us, but we'll be able to assist them by calling 988. You
Yeah,
know, how do you feel about suicide? What if your friend told you, "Hey, I'm gonna kill myself"? What you gonna do?
I know. And then
So
that's the thing about it too, because I've had people to tell me, just, when they're going through some things in life,
yeah,
they just will say things like, sometimes I just think, if everything would just go away,
yeah,
how would people feel if I just wasn't, if I wasn't here anymore?
mm-hmm,
Because I'm just so
mm-hmm,
tired of going through this. Um, to me, those are kind of like cues, of suicide.
yes,
And I take those most definitely. I take them to heart.
mm-hmm,
And now I'm so glad to have this class today, because it'll help me to help someone else to suggest, okay, let's make some calls,
yeah,
because of course, me being a friend, I'm going to talk to them as long as I need to. Look
mm-hmm,
here, stay on the phone. While I'm driving to their home,
mm-hmm,
I'll try to
mm-hmm,
keep them on the line with me or something. And especially if I know it's a person that really is something like that, you can kind of think is so far from a person, but
mm-hmm,
nobody really knows what a person contends with day in and day out, when they wake up, when they go to sleep, before they go to sleep. They dress up and put on clothes, and they look good, and they go to work, and they drive, and they laugh and have fun, and you never know what's really on the inside of that person, what's going on mentally, that can be really kind of bringing them down and wearing them down. So I really take those things to heart. And especially when it's a person, they have themselves so together, you're like, I could never imagine
yeah,
her or him even thinking something like that. But sometimes people actually do.
they
They
do,
do. They go
yeah,
through some things, and it gets very, very overwhelming. So I'm so glad to have had this talk with you today, to um, help me to better help other people. And especially since we work in a world of seniors and those with
yeah,
some type of disability, that alone will cause people to get very depressed at times, because of what they're going through, and if funding isn't right, or
yeah,
they're um, don't have a loved one near to come and speak with them, or come and visit with them, somebody to come and talk to them, just kind of get things off the shoulder.
yeah.
And so yeah, this is important. It's important.
Very, very. I had two classes last Friday with a senior homes. It was two of them.
Okay.
And what I wanted them to know is that, because there was a representative there, and I asked, "Well, what time do you leave?" She said, "I leave at 5 o'clock." Okay, so what if Miss So and So was stressed? What if Miss So and So needed somebody to talk to? You're gone. They can call 988, and they would talk to that individual until the
Okay.
cows come home.
Okay.
So you see what I'm
So,
saying?
yeah, most definitely. So you do other classes other than this, or you go into more details or
Yeah,
depth with the
yeah,
nine?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
We might have to get you back then, Bill, to
yeah.
do yeah,
Just
a
let me know.
continued part two or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for giving me the chance to present 988, and be more than happy if anytime you need me, just shoot me a email or text or whatever, and
Okay.
I'll be at your beck and call. Now,
Appreciate it.
now, how is this? You say is it YouTube or Facebook that it'll be on?
Both.
It'll be on both.
We're
Okay,
on Facebook now, and I believe for at least 30 days it stays on. And
okay.
then YouTube, we actually put it up on our YouTube channel as well. But do you
Oh,
have a couple more minutes, or do you have to
sure,
go?
sure,
Okay, because we
sure.
did have a question somebody asked, because they missed the beginning.
Okay.
What is the history of 988, and where did it start from?
Well, the history of 988, it started from the 800 number that used to be the Suicide Crisis Hotline. And so, and that was that 800 crisis hotline started in 2005. So 988 took over that 1-800 number. And so that's since 2022 that 988 has been on board, and it has been definitely something that has outdone what people thought it would do. So yeah, that's basically the history. It's in its infancy, but it's getting better and better. So yeah,
that's great. Rachel, did you have anything else?
No, I just can't believe I didn't know about this. So awesome.
Well, Rachel, you know what though? You'd be surprised. When I go into facilities, and I mean, like, I'm talking about mental health facilities, medical facilities, and they like, what? 988? Yeah. So that's why I'm happy you all allowed me to talk about it, because people need to know about 988.
Yep.
Yeah. So you are not the only one. But trust me.
Awesome. All right. Well, we thank you again. We appreciate your time and expertise.
All right. Well, thank you. Anytime. Okay.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
All right. Y'all have a nice one now. Okay.